Okay, I am somewhat north of the ExxonMobil here on Grand Haven Road, and as you can see, I'm driving by an airport, and the airport has a lot of gates. Well, you can't see the gates from here, but there are a lot of gates. I'm about to pass one right here. Okay, this is not the gate that they may have used, if they did use a gate, but I'm trying to show the airport is here, right next to the road where Miss Heeringa's abductor drove. Okay, and I don't think people understand that this airport, okay, there's another gate right there. It's at gate number 16. Whoever abducted Miss Heeringa was driving by an airport that was very close by, and they chose to drive by the airport. They could have taken the highway, which is not very far from here. And at this point, the airport ends, and we're getting up into the residential district, which, if you can see, I'm driving through at about 30 miles an hour. The residential district here is just houses, but as you can see, there's a sign for the highway, and it basically says, hey, the highway is right over there. It's actually less than a half of a mile away, probably only a quarter of a mile away, if that. This used to be an old highway between Grand Haven and Muskegon, and only a local would know that. Only a local would be able to know that this highway will go the same way as the other highway. Why didn't the abductor take the other highway? I'm going to tell you why. Because the abductor knew that, one, the police would be checking that highway, and number two, they were taking the alternate route, which is very quiet and dark at night, and you can see that there's absolutely no lights all the time. And, well, there is some here, but back a ways there weren't. This area is an area that locals know that they can drive from one city to the other without being pulled over by the police, and it's very quiet. And here is Airport Road, which I'm going to take a left on. And the reason why I'm taking a left on Airport Road is because this is the road that they said that the abductor took the left on. So I'm about to take the left because I want you to understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the airport is really large. Just because we're in a residential district does not mean that the airport is not still fenced off. We are here on Airport Road, and as you can see, there's a lot of houses and trees. But as I go up here about a quarter of a mile or a little bit farther, there's going to be a cemetery. And you're going to see this cemetery, and I'm also going to point out that behind the cemetery is the airport. Here's the airport again here, and it's quite large with a lot of gates. Okay, and here would be the cemetery that I'm speaking of. This is an area that I have searched and tried to make sense of, but as you can see, we are going to the back of the cemetery, and here is an outbuilding for the cemetery right here. And you can see over there, if you look closely, there's a van driving through the airport area, and there's a ton of gates. Here, there's one over there, and I'm just showing that there's vans moving back there. Okay, there's a road. But what I really want to show you is that there is outbuildings here behind the gate. The gate is the separation between the airport. There's one of the outbuildings. And the gate is the separation between the airport and the cemetery. And you can see these buildings here. So as I continue farther up, I don't know if these guys are going to let me show you or not. There is definitely some planes parked back here. The back in there, behind these trees, I guess I probably shouldn't get out, are planes parked. And that is what I'm talking about. Those 3 outbuildings, you've seen them. I don't want to disturb the cemetery workers today. They're going to wonder why I have a video camera. And there is a big, huge plane right next to this white building in front of me that belongs to the airport. It says Delta on it. However, the point is that there were private planes there next to these buildings that are right off of Airport Road. Why am I saying this? Also, I want to point out this gray van, okay, right across the street from the cemetery. I don't know if these people had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that they did, so don't quote me on that. But what I am saying is I find it very suspicious that there is an airport here. This is the route that the abductor took. There's outbuildings, gates all over the place, and there's a gray van right across the street. Not saying that they had anything to do with it, but look at all these buildings where someone could hide someone in. Okay? These buildings have planes here. Now that I'm not in the cemetery, I can show them to you a little bit better. We're going to a dead end here. There's a gate right there. Okay, there's an old plane. It's probably not drivable, but I'm just trying to show you that this is the area that the abductor took, and it is. We don't know who has the keys to these gates, nor do we know if the person that took her worked for the airport. I'm not saying anything. I'm just pointing at something that you should be paying attention to. Look at those buildings, huge buildings. And who has the key to those gates?